In this video, I've got a recording of a call that I had with Tosh, who is one of my viewers. Tosh has his own niche website in the camera niche. He's an expert when it comes to photography and videography and all that kind of stuff. So it's an excellent niche for him to be in because he's got loads of knowledge and experience about cameras and photography. So he's able to create some really good content for his site. I ask him loads of questions about how he creates his content, and he shares some really good information and tips and tricks and ideas. And those of you that have seen Tosh before will know that he's a fantastic storyteller. So I think you're going to really enjoy this video. This video is part of a series of videos that I put together all around creating content for a niche website and all featuring WP Eagle viewers. If you want to go check out the rest of those videos, you'll find them all in a playlist, which I'll put in a link up there in a card. And you'll also find a link to it in the description below this video. But anyway, I think that's enough intro. Let's get straight into the call. Roll the tape. Okay, so I'm joined by Tosh, a regular on my channel. You may have seen him engaging in the chat on the live streams. I've spoken to Tosh before, and he's helped me quite a bit with my cameras and that kind of stuff. He's a bit of an expert when it comes to videos and cameras, and in fact his niche site I think is in that sort of area. Currently running one site that's starting to bring in a bit of income, and yeah, I believe you write most of your content, which is what we're going to be talking about today. So Tosh, you just want to quickly introduce yourself and let us know how you got into this whole affiliate marketing, internet marketing, whatever you want to call it, thing. Over to you.
Well, yeah, I mean, my background is broadcasting and specifically advertising. So for 40 odd years, I've been writing and producing radio and TV commercials. 10 years ago, in fact, exactly 10 years ago, I was one of the ones that got made redundant in the last downturn, set up my own business making, well, it wasn't actually intentional business. My clients kept on phoning me after I left the radio station, but the trouble with doing videos and radio commercials is it's a one-hit thing. I can only sell them once. I was looking for something where I could do the work once and it would generate income on an ongoing basis for me. And that's where it would be about 2 years ago now, I started watching some of the videos from Income School, and that got me into actually launching my first niche site, and nothing happened. Nothing happened for about a year. I would see one or two people on the site, and I think that probably was me going in checking. Yeah. So for a year, nothing happened. And then about 6 months ago, I suppose, a bit more than 6 months ago, I started seeing some visitors gradually coming in. And of the last month or so, suddenly it's shot up. Now I've gone in the space of, well, February, I was getting maybe 20 visitors a day. Now I'm on to 120, something like that a day. Wow. And it's actually generating a nice amount of money. So I'm hoping that I will be able to get the site up to 10, 20, 30, 40,000 page views a month, and hopefully I can get a bit of income that eventually I don't have to do a lot of work for, if you like, to sustain money coming into the business. And I can then carry on with my ordinary stuff, the radio commercials, the TV commercials, website videos for my clients. And that hopefully will become the icing on the cake, rather than at the moment it's the other way around.
The main business, yeah, and the other one's just a side hustle. So this video obviously that I'm putting together is specifically about content. So let's talk a little bit about content. I think you write most of your content, and you also mentioned that you have obviously got this writing background. So tell me a little bit about, how you go about writing and your experiences with writing your own content.
Well, I'm afraid I suffered from being a bit of an arrogant git with my website, because I've been writing for 40 years. I've been doing radio commercials and TV commercials and writing stuff for my clients. So I thought, hey, you can do this. You've won awards in London and New York for your writing. So, I mean, you can do this. Big mistake. It's a different kettle of fish. So first mistake, I was arrogant. I believed I knew how to do it. It's totally different. Go out, look for help. That was my second problem. I didn't go out and look for help. So probably at the start of this year, apart from listening to the Income School guys, Ricky and Jem, it was probably about the start of this year that I actually found Alex, your videos, and also Doug. And it wasn't until I actually joined the mastermind group on WP Eagle that there are lots of questions that you might have, and you think, what do you do with that? What do you do with that? Which sound like minor things, but can become quite big things. So I found an ecosystem where I was able to ask questions and find out how things are done. But when it comes back to the writing, I haven't joined Income School. As they say themselves, a lot of their stuff is already out there. I went to some of their sites. The one that I particularly looked at was Embora Pets. I know they've now sold that on, but a lot of the material there is originally Income School stuff. So I went through that, looked at what other people are doing, how they're doing it, how they're structuring it, and I tried to replicate that. And I coupled that with Doug's KGR, and I found that with trying to do a few KGR keywords, I actually got those to rank, whereas a lot of my other stuff, and again, this is the problem that I had, my arrogance was I had been preparing a second online video course. I've already got one up, but I was preparing another one. And when I started doing my website, I thought, hey, I can repurpose all of that. Rather than publishing it as a course, I'll actually repurpose it as articles. Now, what I find fascinating and what I find interesting and what I think people should be doing when they make videos is not necessarily what people are searching for. So although those articles are great, they're not what people want.
I was actually looking for them,
Yeah, and if it doesn't matter how good those articles are, if nobody's looking for them, it's a waste of my time. So, as I said, end of last year, start of this year, I started using the KGR method, and in fact, my biggest webpage is definitely a KGR term. And what happened with that was not only did that rank, and it got the snippet, in fact, and although it was a long tail KGR term, there were lots of other longer tail KGR terms or long tail terms that are associated with that. So I was getting traffic not only from the term that I had found, but lots of associated ones. So as soon as that one started ranking, other ones came in as well, and the traffic built on that. So that worked. So that's what I've done. I've started using KGR just to get my foot in the door, so to speak, to get onto the first step. And once I've built up a little bit, I will then start trying to go for some of the more difficult terms. And as far as my articles are concerned, I've just gone out, looked at what other people are doing, asked and listened to what people are saying in the mastermind group, listened to what you and Doug and Ricky and Jim are doing in your videos, and trying to apply that. And the other thing that I did, and I don't mean to be insulting at all, but my target market is America, and I looked at the average reading age of people, not only in America but in the UK as well, and I was writing at too high a level. It turns out that the average reading age in America, and I think probably over here as well, is between about 12 and 14, whereas I was using terminology that,
It's just going way over everyone's head, yeah.
yeah, absolutely. And I think I saw a figure last night because I looked this up. The OECD, the Organization for Cooperation of Economic Development, they were saying that in the States, for instance, there are 50% of people, the population, adult population in America, find it difficult to read a book that's above, I think it's ninth grade, something like that. So that's something else that I learned. Don't use your industry speak. Don't use even middling type words. Keep it simple. And I, at one stage, I was using what's that SEO? Is it Yoast?
Yes, with the traffic lights.
With the traffic lights. And I was spending hours and hours and hours trying to follow that, and I got rid of it in the end because it was just a waste of my time. I just concentrated on shorter sentences, using simpler words. Don't use industry buzzwords. Try and explain what it is rather than using a word that only a tiny number of people would understand. So that's been my approach, and since I've adopted that kind of approach, I've started getting ranked by Google, and people have been reading my stuff, and more importantly for me, started to buy stuff through my affiliate links.
That's what you want. You want people to come and look at your content and read it, and stay around for a little while, and then hopefully go and buy something. So I'll just clarify a few of the tips that you just said there. There was a lot of good stuff in there. So the first one is use simple English. Don't use too many big buzzwords or anything like that. Do your keyword research and especially maybe check out Doug Cunnington's keyword golden ratio, which is what KGR stands for, which is basically a method of identifying keywords with low competition so that you've got a good chance of ranking. Myself and Doug did do a playlist on that a little while ago. It may be a little bit out of date though, although the concept and everything is still the same. So everything that we talk about, by the way, you'll find links to in the description of this video. And yeah, feel free to come and join us in the mastermind group as well, which is on Facebook. You'll find a link to that as well. So loads of good stuff there to help people out. So, and the other thing is don't obsess with Yoast, which or SEO plugins in general, which is actually not, you're not the only one who said that on this on the calls that I've been having. That I think a lot of people, when they start writing and they install Yoast or Rank Math or any of those other kind of plugins, and they give your content a score or they give it a light, you can end up spending hours trying to get 100 out of 100 or getting that green light, where if you just write a good article in simple, clear English and obviously put your keywords in the headings and all that kind of basic stuff, that's about it. You don't need to obsess about your keyword density or your Felsch store or whatever it's called. There's some other weird metrics in there. You don't obsess about that. It's a waste of time. So some good stuff there. So talking about the content that you create, how do you come up with your ideas for content? I guess that's linked to your keyword research, is it?
I mean, there's a guy that I know who you've worked with as well, Ken McGaffin, and he has a slightly different view to me. He talks about entities and Google does this, that, and the other, and it's way above my head. I mean, he sent me an article, and I just couldn't understand a dash thing about it. I mean, Ken, really bright guy and knows lots of really bright guys in SEO. But when it comes to me, I stick to Income School's basic method that they've got in their videos. I use Google. There's a few different things that I do. I use Google. I type things in that I think that I would search for. I type in seed terms for my kind of niche. So, I mean, my niche is making videos for YouTube, I suppose. And so I'll type in iPhone and EOS R, which is the camera that I use, and it will bring up lots of potential keywords in there. But I also, because Google doesn't give you the traffic, and in fact nobody really gives you traffic figures, but it's nice to be reassured. So keywords everywhere, I pay there, I think it's $10 and you get something like 100,000.
You get a big bucket load of tokens.
Yeah. So I don't subscribe to their sort of full access. I just pay to get the competition figure and the traffic estimate in a Google search. Keyword Surfer, that's free. That does kind of the same thing.
That's another Chrome plugin, isn't it?
Yeah. And the other thing that I do use is Ubersuggest from Neil Patel. That is quite handy. I find that it doesn't generate as many keywords in my kind of niche, in sort of like, I don't know, electric razor niche or that sort of stuff. You get loads and loads of stuff coming out of Ubersuggest, but that site's actually quite nice. You can get lots of ideas from it, and also it helps in tracking your site. I mean, the figures are all wrong, I can tell you that. I've put in my own website domain in there, and I'm this month or last month or other, my traffic was something like 39. I can tell you a fact, it wasn't, and that was for the month. But there is lots of information there that is useful. You can also do a site audit. I mean, I found stuff that was wrong with my site, sort of broken links. So that prompted me to fix that. So that was useful. So those are the things that I use. Just Google. Keywords everywhere. I think $10 bucket load of keywords.
Just get credits when you need it.
Get that. You don't need the monthly subscription. Then Keyword Surfer and Ubersuggest. Those are the three things that I use.
And that gives you a big list of ideas, I guess.
I mean, I did also, before Christmas, I bought something from, I don't know whether I'm allowed to say their name, but it's Human Proof Designs. They offer Human Proof Designs. They one of the things that they sell is they'll do your KGR research for you. So I think it was $69, and it was a sale, so it was even less. It was like $49, something like that. So you get about 1,000 or 300, I forget, but a lot of keywords. So they sent their list, and I actually discovered that I was better at doing my KGR research myself than paying someone else to do it.
The professionals. You should try Carl's service, though. I don't know if you tried Carl's service. He delivered some fantastic keywords for me.
Yeah, I've looked at that, and that's on my list of things that I will be doing. But I mean, doing your own KGR research, it's not that difficult. Go to Doug's site, watch his videos. He shows you how to do it. If you can divide two numbers, then you can do KGR analysis. You should be okay. There is actually one thing that I forgot to say earlier on. One thing that I was also getting wrong was use language in the territory or the region that you're targeting. I'm targeting America. I live in the UK. So, I mean, my kids, it used to be a case that my kids would say to us, ABC, and then get to Z, and say, it's not Z, it's Z in the UK. Now I'm finding that I have trained myself. I'm training myself to use the American words. So, for instance, I was writing an article which had mirrored wardrobe doors in it, only for me to discover, in actual fact, it's not a wardrobe; it's a closet. And they in America you have drapes, although they also have curtains, but drapes are the heavier ones. I've had to learn a new language set,
American English,
because about 54% of my traffic comes from America. UK is like 14%, and that's reflected in my income as well. But if you're going to write for a particular region, then make sure that if you're going to write yourself, then write in the kind of way that that region speaks. So I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that, rather than I'm going to do this. And also use word contractions. I mean, that's not specific to America, but I cannot do this. I can't do this. And
so write it more like you talk it. Yeah,
yeah, absolutely.
Like
I mean, that's actually a really, really good suggestion. It's something that I have not done a lot of. Ken McGaffin, that we mentioned earlier on, he writes a lot of his articles. I don't know whether I should actually give away this secret, but he writes a lot of his articles by dictating to Google Docs. Turns on the mic, and he just speaks. He just does it as if he's having a conversation with his computer. You've got to go back and edit it and clean it up.
Yeah, but that's an interesting way. So I was going to actually come on to that. What is your kind of writing process? Do you dictate, or do you have some kind of ritual you go to, or do you use a template or a structured document? How do you start putting articles together?
I do have a document in my office. I'm not in my office at the moment because last time we spoke, you saw how untidy my office is. So
can't be any more untidy than mine.
The lounge, I've put a white screen behind me. I've got light in front of me. But in my office, on the whiteboard behind me, I've got magnetic pens, and this document about that thick, which is now on that whiteboard. And every time I write an article, down it comes. How many words is that section? Right. Okay. Where does that come? Where does my snippet go? How do I? All of that. So yes,
so you have a structure laid out, and you basically just fill in the gaps.
Got a structure laid out, and I follow that. And what I have been doing is I've been going back to some of my earlier articles and rewriting them using the new structure that I've been applying. So yes, I do have a structure. You can call it a template, although it's actually on paper. I'm of an age where
you like to print stuff out.
I print things up. So I do have a structure. I follow that. I don't dictate to the computer. I have done once or twice, but generally I'll sit down and I'll type. And then something that's very, very important is don't just then sling it out onto your website. Go back and read it. Leave it for at least an hour. A day's better, because you'll go back to it and you'll go, what the heck is that?
Well written, yeah. Again, you're not the first person to have said that on these calls, that leaving it and then coming back, it's like having a fresh pair of eyes on it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and if you can cope with handing your article over to your spouse, girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever, and have them read it, and it doesn't work if you're thin-skinned, but if you get to the stage where, hey, what the heck, take on any criticism. I mean, my wife's main criticism of anything that I write is, your sentences are far too long. So I have consciously been trying to write shorter and shorter sentences, because that's what my readers actually want. If we go back to...
Sorry, can we just pause? I'm going to have to edit. There's someone at the door.
Yep.
So have you got any other tips on writing articles?
Yeah, there's one thing that, what's her name? The Benedetti violinist woman, Nicola Benedetti. She actually used to live about 30 miles up the road from where I am at the moment. And I was fortunate enough a few years ago to be at a business event where her father, who is or was a tycoon, he sold his business, but he was speaking, and he said something that not only is very applicable to business, but also is applicable to writing articles. And he bought the company Wallace Cameron, the first aid kit company. Yeah. And he said, if you want success, you don't have to invent the wheel. You just have to improve it. So go out, look at what is out there already in your niche for the keywords that you're looking at. Don't copy. I mean, I'm not suggesting you should just rip off other people, but do your research, find out what else is out there, and just make it better. Don't just copy it and just do the same thing. Actually make it better. Don't, one thing that I would say, don't copy data. If someone's come up and done some research and produced some data, don't copy that. That, in my opinion, is just stealing. But reinterpret, do your own stuff, but whatever is out there already, write it and make it even better than what's out there, because that's what people want. They want something really, really, really useful. So don't try and invent the wheel or reinvent the wheel. Just make what's out there already better.
Wow, yeah, that's a good tip. You've shared loads of tips. In fact, loads of great tips. So I mean, you obviously talked about writing your own content. Have you ever outsourced any of your writing?
I have. I've used iWriter. I know you use Texton, and there's another company that you've done a video.
BKA. I have used iWriter. I've used a few because I reviewed them all a while back in a video.
I've used iWriter a couple of times, and to be honest, it wasn't that successful because what I ended up doing was rewriting what I had been doing or what I got from them, because my niche, it's kind of specialist. I mean, it's about cameras, it's about microphones, recording sound, recording video, and all lighting, and all the rest of it. And I can't really expect someone who will write an article about any kind of topic to have the specialist knowledge to get everything right. So what I found in the articles that I got back, fundamentally they were okay, but there were mistakes in it, and I don't want to put out material onto my site, which I suppose is becoming an authority site, that is fundamentally wrong.
You want it, and it needs to be of good quality and correct.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it reminds me of I was watching a video of a chap in the camera niche, and he said something in his YouTube video, and I went, no, that's wrong. You don't do that. And lo and behold, you went into the comments, and everybody else is going, you don't do that. You don't. And something really, really minor can undermine your authority. And I don't watch his videos anymore purely because of that one little mistake.
Yeah, so you've got to be careful and get your facts right.
Get your facts right. So that even if I do outsource any articles in the future, then I'm going to make sure I read through them, check it, edit it, and once finally I'm happy with it, I'll publish it. But using most external writers, I would hesitate for me because of my subject matter. I mean, if I was doing soil testing kits, as you gave away the site
the other day,
I mean, most writers would be able to write umpteen articles about soil testing kits and get it right. But for me, for my niche, it would be much more difficult. I think I would have to find someone that knows something about cameras and audio and making videos and stuff, and I would then be happy for them to write material for me. But at the moment, that's why I'm writing most of my own stuff, and why I don't have more articles on my site than I do.
Okay, that's fair enough. I mean, that's the only trouble. If you don't outsource, it is a bit of a slower process, obviously, creating everything yourself. But then I think there's going to be that trade-off between quantity and quality anyway. And I think, 10 good quality articles that people get lots of value from and that they share are probably more valuable to your site than 30 poorer quality articles that you've outsourced to people that don't really know what they're writing about, and they do a quick bit of Google research and then quickly put an article together. That's good, because this video is all about writing your own content rather than outsourcing. Anyway, I mean, myself and Income School, and we're all far too lazy to write our own content, so we just outsource most of it. But that's not always an option for a lot of people. So I've just got a couple more questions before we wrap up. I just wanted to ask you: is there a particular process and this combined with another question, actually, like a time of day that you decide to write? Any kind of rituals or anything that you do to get you in the zone for writing? Is there anything you do on that front, or do you just write? Sometimes you feel inspired and you just start writing.
It can be any time of day. It's mostly dictated by what I've got on from my real job, which my mother, if she was still here, she would not regard as a real job. For her, it was being an accountant or a doctor or whatever.
Yeah.
Work
Have
on
a boss and wear a
radio,
suit. Yeah.
Yeah. So I write when I'm not doing my daytime job. However, at the moment we're all in lockdown, so I've had quite a bit of time. So I can write during the day. So because I have a full-time job, so to speak, even though the website is part of the business, because I have a full-time job, I tend to write a lot at night. I'm a bit of a night owl anyway, so 3 in the morning is, I'm not a stranger to 3 in the morning at all.
Burning the midnight oil and
So I find that I do write quite a bit in the evening after tea. Tea is, I don't know, down in England, it'll be dinner.
We might call it dinner. Yeah, it depends.
Yeah.
If it was a light supper, then it might be called a tea. The Americans have got no idea what we're talking about. I don't know what do they have in the evening.
But anyway, so after our evening meal, I'll sit down and I'll do some research. I'll write stuff, write my article. I tend to take much longer than Ricky and Jim suggest. They'll knock off a response post in an hour. They say an hour or two. I take a little bit longer than that, but the research is important. I look online at what other people are saying. I look at videos, watch videos, go onto forums, and collect all that research, my own knowledge, and then I'll start writing. Usually it's later at night. And I do the same thing for my videos. I usually, probably because of my background of making radio and TV commercials, you have a script. So when I do videos, I have a script. I put the script onto my iPad, my teleprompter, and I'll read off that.
Wow, that's very organised. I've never scripted a video in my life. You probably tell that, but yeah.
Well, if you get your camera far enough away, you can put your script onto your iPad, have the iPad just under the lens, and because you're far enough away, the viewer can't see the parallax difference between you looking into the middle of the lens or looking slightly below the lens or above. But that's the way I do those. But yeah, I can write at any time of day. Do I have a ritual?
Do you put your headphones on? Any music or anything like that?
I can't. When I was a teenager and a student, I would have music on. I couldn't work unless I had music playing. These days, don't
Silence.
Put anything on. I want silence. The only time that I can have music on is if I'm doing something quite repetitive in editing videos or photos or
doesn't require
whatever.
much thinking.
And it's just a process that you're doing all the time, and it's very, very kind of mechanical. So I can then listen to music. But if I'm writing or
anything
doing
creative,
research or whatever, I cannot have music playing in the background because it's just so distracting for me.
Yeah.
I just listen to the noises in my head, which after 30, 40 years of working in radio stations and stuff, the tinnitus is very nice.
Yeah. Wow.
So a little kind of constant noise in my head, but not as bad as some people who are in rock bands who really suffer.
I guess you get used to it. I don't suffer from that, but I know a lot of people that do, that have been working in music and that kind of stuff. So, okay, it's just in terms of the articles that you write, I guess, do you write all sorts of articles? So you mentioned response posts. Do you do any product reviews? Do you do buyer's guides? Do you do, obviously then there's the cornerstone or pillar content as well, which are the really long, in-depth type articles. What sort of articles do you find yourself creating most of, or are you good at doing a whole mix of stuff?
I'm very good at starting off doing a response post, which then turns into a pillar post, because I just keep on writing. So what I have to constantly guard against is just writing too much. I mean, I don't know whether you're the same, but because the subject that I'm writing about is like my pet subject, it's what I've been doing for all my working life, recording, and whether it be audio or video, I'm quite enthusiastic about it. So I say, yeah, of course they want to know about that. Oh yeah, and they want to know that. Oh, that little bit of a tip, yeah, that would be good for. And then you end up with something that's 4,000 words long that should have been 1,200. I do try and do a mixture of posts, about 1,250 to 1,500 for response posts, and then I have got a few pillar posts on there where I do go more in depth, but I have to remember, if I'm answering a question, that's what the person is actually asking. They don't want to know all this other rubbish that I've suddenly
try and be focused
put into
specific.
And the smaller the article, the more likely it's going to get ranked more quickly on Google. So I have tried to do more response posts, and then I've also got the longer ones, the pillar posts and the staple posts as well.
I guess you saw the video that Income School did on that, where they measured the return that you get from each sort of post. And
it's the response posts, which are the most economical of your time.
They had a new metric, return on time, didn't they? Yeah. So how much money do you get back for the time that you put into something?
So if you still want to have a mix of content, but you'll probably find that the response posts are the ones where you're going to get a lot of views out of quickly. But I also do, yes, I've got some product reviews. I came up with my own method, which I'm not saying it was right, but someone in the mastermind group posted a link to a free course on Udemy, where I've actually got a course or a couple of courses on there, and it was about writing product reviews. So I've gone through that and went, well, yeah, that's a reasonable way of doing it. So I might try using that chap's method or template. But if I were to look at the number of response, staple, and pillar posts compared to my reviews, it's probably the reviews are a tenth of everything else that I do. I mean, even in my informational posts, I've got affiliate links in those, so it's not necessarily my product reviews that are generating the majority of the income. A lot of the money's coming from my informational posts as well.
I think that's fine, because I think with an informational post or a tutorial or any of those kind of articles, it's fine to include products. I mean, I include products in a lot of my video tutorials. If you're going to start a website, you need hosting, you need domains, and if someone wants to actually complete that tutorial, then they are going to have to buy those products, and so you get a good conversion rate. And the other thing, my feeling is with product reviews, is I'm not sure how much extra value we can give by doing product reviews, because you can get a lot of product reviews just off Amazon itself, can't you? There's a whole load of product reviews. So unless you're doing something really in depth on the product reviews, I'm not too sure how much value that we can offer. And obviously, the more value you offer, the more chance you've got of getting good traffic and good revenue.
I mean, what I like to do with the product reviews, and it's probably why I haven't got more of them on the site, is I like to be able to have the product myself.
Yeah.
So because even if you go onto Amazon and read the reviews, if you actually know something about this of that product or that subject, it becomes quite obvious that quite a lot of the people who are giving like ones or maybe even fives, they haven't got a clue about that product,
Yeah.
that they're using it the wrong way,
Yeah.
or they've bought the wrong thing, and they're saying, "Oh no, it's useless. It doesn't stand up. Well, it's not meant to stand up. It's a camera."
Yeah.
You know,
It doesn't make the
or
tea. I mean, yeah.
whatever it is. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So I would actually be quite cautious about the comments or the reviews that appear on Amazon or other sites, because I have found that a good proportion of users or buyers are complete and utter nitwits.
Yeah.
I would normally use a different word, but
That's a technical
on
term.
nitwits.
Nitwit. Yeah.
Yeah. So the reviews that I have, quite a few of them are ones where I'm reviewing actual kit that I've bought myself. I mean, I did one about in-camera charging of my EOS R camera. You can charge. I didn't know that you could charge your battery inside the camera, but lots of people were having problems about it. So I actually bought the chargers for it. I bought the cables for it, because not all cables, not all chargers, work,
No.
and you've got to do it in a particular way. So I was able to write a review of the products that actually work, and say, look, I know from first-hand experience this cable works, this works, this battery works, this charger works, and if
Well,
you're
then you
actually
are
able
adding
to,
value.
to
Yeah,
write it
you are
from,
adding
yeah,
value.
you are adding value. Because in that case, a lot of people were saying on forums, I can't get this to work. I know it should work. I can't get it to work. But because I got all the individual bits that make it work, I was able to run through and also produce a troubleshooting list. Make sure you do this, make sure you do that, make sure. And finally, have you got a genuine battery? Because it might say it's a genuine battery, but it might not be. It's probably going to be a knockoff.
Yeah,
Put it
make
into
sure
your
you got the
camera,
right.
go into it. What does the camera say? Does the camera say it's genuine, or does it say it's a knockoff? Because the camera will tell you. So if you're able to handle the gear firsthand and use it, and what can it do, what can't it do, what's it good at, what's it not so good at, does it really matter that bit there is a bit squidgy? It doesn't.
Yeah.
It doesn't
No,
affect the
that's
way it
good. That's where
functions.
you can be better than
Yeah.
an Amazon review, because you got that detail, that real world experience of the product.
Yeah. So I would, ideally, I would like to write reviews about products that I've bought myself, and if there's anybody out there on Amazon that wants to send me gear, please feel free. Yeah, I mean, I have also written stuff where I've researched it, but I'm never really as happy
Yeah.
writing that as I am when I'm actually talking about stuff that I've had in my hands and used myself.
Okay, good. Well, I think that kind of brings us to the end. You've shared so much good stuff. Hopefully, people will be able to take some of your tips and apply them to their own content. So, just one thing is short and sweet. Is there any other last tip that you would give to someone that is looking to write their own content?
It is. You can do it. Don't think that because you've never written before that you can't do it yourself. You can go out, look at what other people are doing, find your own way of implementing what they do, and remember what I also said earlier on, that the average reading age of people in America, even in the UK, I discovered that the Financial Times, which you would think they cover complex issues, the reading age of the Financial Times in the UK is 12 to 14-year-olds.
Yeah.
So if that's the kind of reading age of the people who are going to, or the average of people reading your stuff, you don't have to be a professor to be able to write material that other people will find genuinely useful, and also put your personality into it. If you're a bit of, we know Carl. He comes up with a few gags in the chat when you're doing your live streams.
Yeah.
I'm sure that a lot of that comes over in his writing.
So put your personality into it.
Videos. So put your personality into it. And one thing I learned early on when I started working in radio is you don't have to put yourself out there. You can put a character out there. Despite the fact that I'm talking to you and I go to business exhibitions and I meet people, I am actually a desperately shy person. I discovered very, very early on that to be able to work in business and in the sphere that I wanted to work in, I have to put on this persona of Tosh Lubeck. I won't tell you what my real name is. Actually, it is, but Tosh is the Polish equivalent of Tony. There's the me who's at home, and then there's the me that I put out there to YouTube, to when I go out to business exhibitions and working with other people. That's not me. I'm playing a character at the moment.
No, well, I think we all are to a certain degree. We all have our personas that we portray in different environments, different situations. But yeah.
So if someone feels that they're really shy and they're very sensitive, they don't like to be criticised. You will get criticised. You will get dislikes. Don't worry about it. But if you develop this kind of persona that you can put on for when you're creating your website or writing for your website, then that's going to help you, because you can be someone else. And if you've ever done any ham and dram stuff, we all like playing baddies, don't we? And so
maybe
just
that could be it.
Play a different part. Be that person who's that internet star. I mean, I'm not, but if you can, if you feel that you are shy and that you can't write, then you can just imagine that there's some character that you're playing, and don't worry about not being able to write. All you have to do is keep it simple, keep your sentences short, keep your language simple, write conversationally, write as if you're having a conversation with someone on the other side of your computer monitor, and you'll do fine.
That's perfect. All right, well, thanks a lot, Tosh. And thanks for all your tips and suggestions, and good luck with your site.
Thanks very much indeed.
So that brings us to the end of this video. Tosh shared some great information during the call. I hope you found it useful. You'll find a little bit more info about Tosh in the description to this video. But if you want to connect with Tosh, you can often find him in the WP Eagle Facebook group, which again, I'll put a link to in the description. Make sure that you join, and you can then start chatting with other members and other viewers of WP Eagle all about your sites and all that kind of stuff. It's a really good place to hang out. I look forward to seeing you there. Tosh is also a regular on the live streams. He's always in the chat answering questions and generally making some useful comments. So if you want to hook up with him there, do join me on one of my streams. I go live every single Tuesday. To make sure you don't miss out, you're going to want to subscribe by clicking on my face. And why not check out my vlog channel? Just click on my other face up there. And here are a couple more videos that have been chosen specially for you. Until next time, bye for now.